You are listening to the Fly the W670 podcast. It's season 2. It's episode 44. Cubs sink the Jolly Roger. Don't forget to listen, download, review. Most importantly, subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on the socials. Fly the W670 on Twitter and Instagram. Fly the W on Facebook, or email us flythew670@gmail.com. Now, Crawly, the Cubs are taking on the Pirates. They have sunk the Jolly Roger, but let's not bury the lead. Usually you are in your pimped out man cave, but today you are on the road. You are bringing our podcast subscribers, our listeners, a little Myrtle Beach Cubs action. Tell us about what you've seen and done so far.
Yeah, I've been down in Myrtle Beach, where the low A affiliate Myrtle Beach Pelicans play. I went to the game last night, and it was an absolute blast. I recommend people come down there, and we'll do a whole vacation review, but it is really cool down here. I got some special. Tonight's going to be special, so be watching for the socials on Fly the W and Crawly's Cubs, because it is going to be a fun night tonight. But I've had my beer bets. I've had a lot of fun. I mean, it's literally just beach, beer, and baseball, which, what else can you ask for in life?
That's pretty good. All right, so more of that to come, but let's get it going right off the bat. So Jameson Taillon was going on Monday night against his former club, actually Tuesday night against his former club, and the Cubs had to outwait a 70-minute rain delay, and it was worth the wait.
Yeah, Jameson Taillon versus Luis Ortiz, and the Cubs win this one 11-3. The Cubs rewarded the Wrigley faithful, who sat an hour-plus delay, like you were talking about, in wet, soggy conditions, and they reward them with a 11-3 victory. Jameson Taillon pitched well. He got the quality start. He went 6 innings pitched. He gave up 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, and 4 Ks. The only problem, Dustin, is apparently he wasn't listening to the Fly the W podcast, because we told him, do not pitch. Be careful, Jack Sawinski. So he hit 2 home runs off Taillon in the first and sixth inning. Get this, Dustin. Sawinski's slugging 1.083 in 12 career at-bats at Wrigley Field. Good thing they were both solo home runs, so you minimize the damage on that one. But Merriweather, Leiter, and recently called up Anthony Kay all pitched 1 inning, and J-Mo got his 2nd win of the season. I thought he looked great, Dustin.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. I don't know if I'd go as far as great, but good. I definitely good. Walks down, Ks up. I always want to see more Ks than walks, but definitely good enough. And got a little nervous at one point. It looked like Rossi might trust him a little bit too far, but let's get into the story of the game.
Yeah, that's the offense, man. The Cub fans were nervous. When you looked at that lineup, it came out. You had him a bottom 3 of Master Boney pinch hitting.
I almost lost my mind, Crawly. If we would have been on the air and that lineup would have been released, I might have had to have been restrained.
I mean, there is no reason a guy who can't hit his weight is your DH. The whole point with his DH to get a hitter in there. Oh, my God. And then you had Nick Madrigal and Tucker Barnhart. And so you look at that before the game starts. Now, mind you, once the game happens, baseball happens, but you can't have 3 guys in the lineup like that. Those are like almost automatic outs. Like, that's a third of your lineup that's an automatic out. But baseball being baseball, it worked out. Down 1-0 in the first. Ian Happ hit a 3-run homer. According to Jordan Bastian, that ended a drought of 144 plate appearances and 118 at-bats without a home run, dating back to May 5th. It is June 15th, Dustin. That's a long time for your number 3, number 4 to not have a home run. But Happ is slashing 319, 406, 570 in 83 career games against Pittsburgh. The Cubs' offense did nothing in innings 2 through 5 as the Pirates slowly crawled back to tie it in the 6th. You know what I mean? And Dustin, we've kind of been used to it, where they score a couple of runs early and then do nothing the rest of the game.
Right.
But that wasn't going to be the case today, because after they tied it in the 6th, Matt Mervis hit an RBI single to put the Cubs up 4-3. Then in the 7th, the Cubs loaded the bases with 1 out when Ian Happ got hit by a pitch to make it 5-3. Thank you, Pittsburgh, for the freebie. Cubs caught a break when Dansby Swanson hit one that deflected off the glove of the pitcher to make it 6-3. Dustin, I think it's about time the Cubs start to catch some of those fluky breaks. I feel like it always is the opposing team that gets those, and the Cubs never do. And I have a feeling that that's kind of turning here. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
Yep, I would agree with you. They deserve to catch some breaks, and I think they're about to start going the Cubs' way.
Well, with 2 outs in the inning, and former Cub Rob Zastrinsky, Rob Z, if you remember that name back to the 2016 era, Mr. Clutch Jan Gomes singles to drive in 2 more runs, and the Cubs were up 8-3. The only concern was that Ian Happ tweaked his calf on that single and was taken out of the game as a precautionary measure. I was surprised, though, Dustin. The Cubs had an 8-3 lead, and they went with Mark Leiter in the 8th. Now, Leiter's pitched a lot, and he's a guy that they're going to lean on a lot. We've talked about him being one of the best bullpen pitchers. With an 8-3 lead, are you surprised that he went with him?
Yes and no. I understand it, but I think that just showed how important David Ross thought this game was. So he wasn't taking any chances. Even with a 5-run lead, he was not taking any chances at that moment. The Cubs absolutely needed to get a win off of the team leading the division right now. So I have no problem with it at all. That was a statement game by the Cubs that night.
Yep, and Chris Morel, who came in to pinch hit for Ian Happ after he left the game with that tweaked calf, he hits a 3-run homer, and that's going to make it 11-3. The Cubs finished with 11 runs on 14 hits, 2 home runs, and went a remarkable 7-for-15 with runners in scoring position. Love it.
Yeah, when's the last time that happened? I mean, unless maybe they had scored, 1 run in a game and that was it, and nobody had done anything else. But I mean, batting 500 with runners in scoring position, more of that, please.
Well, you're going to get more of that in game 2 because we got Drew Smiley versus Osvaldo Bito. The Cubs had never seen Bito before, and so, I was a little nervous on this one, and Smiley didn't help my nerves at all. The Cubs did win it 10-6, but to me, Dustin, if the Cubs season goes well for the rest of the year, I think this is the game that you're going to look back on because, the game starts and Drew Smiley seemed off. First battery face, Andrew McCutchen leads off with a home run. He then gives up a 2-run homer to Carlos Santana, and the Cubs are in a 3-0 hole in the first inning. So not a great start.
Nope, not a great start at all. I was really, really nervous. The Cubs would then, dig into the lead in that first inning back or second inning back. But boy, I mean, was not what I expected from Drew Smiley at all.
No, and then Santana would also hit an RBI single in the third to make it 4-1. And Austin Hedges, yes, Austin Hedges hit his first home run of the season to make it 5-1. You can't give a home run. See, this is the thing I tell you, man. I don't get mad if you give up home runs to Carlos Santana. That's okay. But Austin freaking Hedges, come on. Yeah. So Drew Smiley hadn't allowed multiple home runs in a start this entire season. That's 13 starts. And in this game, he gives up 3 home runs in 4 innings. So it wasn't a good start for Smiley. But here's the thing I will tell you is that he did grind it out. He was able to give the Cubs some length. He went 6 innings. He gave up 9 hits, 5 runs, 1 walk, and 4 Ks. But like I said, just not the smart start you were looking for from Smiley. And I was obviously nervous,
Oh, you had to be nervous. I was absolutely nervous. I did not know that they would get back into this one.
Yeah, like you said, they were down 3-0 early after 1, but Ian Happ had an RBI single to make it 3-1. After that, though, the Cubs had multiple opportunities to add more runs in the second inning and in the fourth inning, came away empty-handed, and you kind of started rolling your eyes and saying, here we go again.
Here we go again, right? Exactly. Right? Here we go again. Yep.
Right, getting ready, writing the script. Cubs can't score with runners in scoring position, blah, blah, blah. But then in the 6th inning, right, the Cubs will load the bases, and with 1 out, Nick Madrigal, who was hitless in the game, he works a 3-2 count, and then relief pitcher Johan Ramirez was called for a pitch clock violation, an automatic walk, and the Cubs trailed 5-2, and that got the ball rolling. The floodgates are going to open. Mike Tauchman's going to hit a 2-run RBI single. Nico Horner would fly out, but then Seiya Suzuki drew a walk. Ian Happ singled to drive in Madrigal and Tauchman, and the Cubs come back to take a 6-5 lead. Dansby Swanson singles to make it 7-5 before Morel struck out to end the inning. When it was all said and done, the Cubs brought 11 batters to the plate, had 5 singles, drew 3 walks, and scored 6 runs. And in the bottom of the eighth, Seiya Suzuki would add a 2-run double to give the Cubs a 9-6 lead. Trey Mancini would single to make it 10-6, and that's how the game would end. The Cubs scoring 10 runs on 14 hits. They drew 7 walks. They went 6 for 18 with runners in scoring position. Tauchman 3 for 5, 2 RBIs. Seiya 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Dansby 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs. Offensively, Dustin, great team effort.
Oh, absolutely. And what a great use of Trey Mancini in that game. That's how Trey Mancini should be used all the time. Pinch hitting and then a defensive replacement late in a game that the Cubs are leading. And look what he did. He padded the Cubs lead. That was excellent.
One other thing I want to mention, the bullpen saw Michael Fulmer give up 1 run on 2 hits with 2 Ks. Mark Leiter was in again. He didn't give up any hits, and he struck out 1. And Albert finished it up, giving up a hit and a walk, but also striking out 1. But I want to make a special shout out to Mike Tauchman. He's really changed this lineup, and Rossi leading him off. Tip of the hat to Rossi to kind of recognize this guy gives you fantastic at-bats, and his defense has been amazing. And I think he may have saved this game for the Cubs. After the Cubs 6-run rally, right in the 6th, they go up 7-5, and the Pirates have runners on second and third with 1 out. And Carlos Santana, who already had a home run, who already had an RBI single, he hit one that looked like it was going to bounce off the wall. But Tauchman again makes a sensational catch. A run did score on the sac fly, but rather than it being a tie game with both the runners scoring and Santana in scoring position, it was the second out, and Fulmer was able to get out of the inning without further damage. I thought that was a huge, huge play.
Oh, spectacular. You know, the other day we had a catch by Tauchman, the Palatine Pounder, even if he doesn't like it, I'm going to continue to use it, that you said would probably be the first highlight when we look back on the Cubs 2023 season. This one will definitely be in the mix as well and could have been a game-saving defensive gem.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about how this series, you know, these next 9 games, before we started on the last podcast, we talked, 6 against the Pirates, 3 against Baltimore, is going to have a huge impact on this Cubs season. And now the Cubs tonight go for the sweep with their ace, Marcus Stroman on the mound. You got to feel good about that.
All right, Cub fans, it is late night after the Pelicans game and the Cubs game, and some updates since we left off here. When we recorded this afternoon, it was going to be Marcus Stroman versus Johan Oviedo. Couple notes: Matt Mervis was optioned to Iowa, and Cody Bellinger was off the IL and playing first base. Marcus Stroman got the win, his 6th straight quality start, which now put him up to 13 this season, most in the big leagues. Stroh went 6 innings pitched, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, and 5 Ks. Now, 3 of the 4 hits that Stroh gave up came in the 3rd when the Pirates hit 3 straight singles to start the inning. The 3rd single by Tucapita Marcano scored the Pirates' first run, and Carlos Santana grounded out to score the 2nd. But that was all the damage the Pirates would do against the Stroh. They would get 1 more hit off him the rest of the game. Anthony Kay, Julian Merriweather, and Michael Rucker each pitched an inning of scoreless ball. The Cubs offense got their first run in the 3rd when Nico Horner drew a 1-out walk, stole 2nd, and scored on an Ian Happ single to make it 2-1. And just like game 2, the Cubs had an explosive inning, this time the 5th. Nico led it off with a single. Seiya lined out. Ian Happ doubled to tie the game. Dansby would reach on a single, and welcome back Cody Bellinger. He would hit a double that would give the Cubs a 3-2 lead. Morel would single to make it 4-2. Magical would hit a sac bunt to score Bellinger to make it 5-2. And a fielding error by Marcano gave the Cubs a 6-2 lead. That's a 5-run inning. So the Cubs would add an insurance run when Ian Happ tripled and scored on a Morel sac fly to make it 7-2. And that would be the final score. The Cubs offense scored 7 runs on 12 hits. They went 4 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They did leave 10 men on base, and Nico went 2 for 4. Ian was 3 for 5 and a home run short of the cycle. And Christopher Morel went 3 for 3 with a triple and 2 RBIs as the Cubs took all 3 from the Pirates and now find themselves 3.5 games back from the Buccos.
You're listening to the Fly the W670 podcast. This is episode 44 of season number 2. We're calling this one the Cubs sink the Jolly Roger. Don't forget to listen, download, review, and subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. In this segment, Crawly interviewing Andy Garriola, outfielder of the Myrtle Beach Pelicans.
Joining me now on the Fly the W podcast, we have your left fielder, Andy Garriola. Andy, how you doing today?
I'm great. How you doing?
Oh man, you can see on my shirt it says beer, baseball, and I'm going to throw beaches in there.
Yes.
You can't ask for much more. This is a great location to play some minor league ball.
Oh yeah, I'm loving it. I'm from California too, so kind of close to the beach. So this weather, all that. I'm on the off days on Monday, I'll go down to the beach. So perfect place to play.
You do any surfing?
I used to when I was younger. Baseball kind of took that over. Didn't
Yeah.
really want to. I might try to start back up in the off season, but.
So you said you come from California, Sierra Madre. What got you into baseball initially, man? What was it that sparked your passion? Was it someone in particular, or was it just a team or a player?
So my older brother played. He's like 3 years older than me, so I always kind of grew up following him, and I like baseball. My dad made me play too, and I just stuck with it ever since. And me and my brother would just play wiffle ball in the yard and stuff. Have that competitive edge.
And so you got a lot of teams out in Cali. You got the Dodgers, you got the Padres, you got the Angels, the Giants. Yeah. Which was a team that you would say you would watch, or were you more interested in just players?
So my dad's from the Bronx, so we're all Yankee fans growing up. But I like going to Dodger games and stuff. That was always a good time.
And was there any player that kind of stood out to you where you're like, that guy's awesome?
I loved Manny Ramirez. That was like the prime Manny Wood era. So like left field Manny Wood. Like I was always obsessed with that. That was sick.
That was, was it 2008?
Yeah.
I think, and he came. And I was at the playoff games where Manny destroyed us in the NLDS.
Okay.
But, yeah, Manny actually was a coach for the minor league Cubs for a little while, which imagine how cool that would have been for you.
That would have been sick, yeah.
So you go to high school, and are you playing just mainly baseball, or were there other sports that you like to play?
Yeah, I played baseball and football growing up, basketball, volleyball. Kind of played all of that growing up, and baseball just kind of became the main sport. Fell in love with it. Here I am. It's so fun.
So you in high school, you have a really good career, man. 3-time All-League selection at Damien High School in California. You're in first-team honors in 16 and 18. So you led Damien to the 2016 Baseline League title. So you had a lot of success early. Did you know that you wanted to go to college right away, or were you hoping to kind of catch on and get drafted? How did that work out for you?
Yeah, early. I wasn't committed early as a high school player, so I kind of just went to these showcases and stuff, and I didn't commit till Old Dominion to my senior year. But I heard about some talk during the draft, and I heard I could get popped out of high school, but I just kind of want to go to the college route and get better, develop as a player.
And so you go to Old Dominion, and Old Dominion actually kind of it's interesting. The Cubs draft a lot of players from Old Dominion. They have in the past, like P.J. Higgins and some other guys.
Bryce Wyndham, yeah.
Yeah, Bryce Wyndham, he's great. But, when you're there, you have a really good rookie season in 2019, and then 2020 gets wiped out, which, again, when I look at this crop of young players for you guys, you lost a year of development. What did you do to kind of keep yourself in baseball shape?
I just kind of worked out and hit every day and worked on my body, mobility, just kind of trying to stay active, especially during COVID. We went home for that, and we just kind of tried to stay healthy, not trying to get injured.
Yeah, so when you look at the numbers, you were second team NCBWA All-American. You ended up setting the ODU career record with 49 home runs. You finished career second in school history with 214 career RBIs. All sorts of numbers. And so you're sitting there and you're watching the draft and you're waiting for your name. Were you at your house? Who was with you? How did that all work out as you're getting ready for the draft?
Yeah, it was me and my dad actually on the couch, and then we had the draft tracker on. And I already told Schwoop that I would take whatever, for the draft. And he was like, yeah, we're going to get you. So I was waiting. And then 17th round came around and saw my name get put on there.
So that had to have been an exciting moment. And what did you know about the Cubs prior to getting drafted by them?
I knew where the affiliates were because my buddy Jacob Wetzel was here a year before, and he went to ODU with me for a year. So I kind of knew all that, where I would start and all that. So. And
have you ever been to Wrigley before?
No, I haven't been to Chicago at all, honestly.
All right, we got to get you up there. It's an absolute blast.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So you're here now in Myrtle Beach. You played a little bit in the Arizona League. What was that like when you first saw the facilities at Sloan Park?
Yeah, that was really cool. Going in there after the draft for the first couple of weeks, just the weight room, the food and stuff. locker room was all cool. All the guys that were there were friendly and welcoming. So that was a great time.
So, you then get moved. You find out that you're going to go to Myrtle Beach, which, like you said, you trade in the Pacific for the Atlantic.
Yeah.
And you get to go, and you got a couple of really cool coaches here. Talk to me about Buddy Bailey. What is, I forget how many wins, like 2,500 wins, whatever. What is it like learning under Buddy here at Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, it's an honor to play for him. He's had so much experience, coached so many big league players, been around the game for a long time. So anything he says is kind of got to take it into heart and just listen to it.
And then the other guy that you got here, hitting coach Roberto Vaz, is his first year down here. What do you think as far as, the team is concerned? When you think about it, what's is there a organization philosophy to hitting, and what does Vaz kind of bring to the table?
We kind of have like a set mark for each game, like 10 hits, 10 runs. That's our goal every game, and and it's pretty hard, but we try to do it. And I think he's really like aware of our swings and what we need to work on, communicating well with us. So it's fun working with him, just trying to get better each day.
And now we're about a week and a half away from June 25th, which marks the end of the first half of the season. The Pelicans are in first place. It seems like you guys have really picked it up as of late. What do you think's kind of clicked for this team together?
Yeah, I think we've just been playing more as a team and have more chemistry with each other. And, the vibes are good in the locker room. We're all having fun, and I feel like that translates onto the field. And, our pitchers are pitching good for us. We're getting timely hits. Stevens, Ballesteros, they've all been hitting the ball really well lately. So.
And I got to tell you, when I watch you play, because I have the MLB package and I have Marquee, you play with like a high intensity, man. I saw you one time make a catch over by the Tito's Beach over there, flipping over. Like you play like with a little bit of reckless abandon. Have you always kind of been that way, like going all out?
Yeah, I like playing the game. Balls to the wall. It's kind of it's 2 hours of the day really that you need to do it. So why not do it?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And that plays real well in Chicago, man, because people just love to see that kind of effort. But just be careful. There's that brick wall we got at Wrigley Field, and I don't want you getting hurt.
The ivy should help, right?
It's not as forgiving as you would think. But when you sit here and you play in Myrtle Beach and you have the fans that you do here, you go to other stadiums, you see other parks. How does it compare, the Myrtle Beach fans, compared to the other stadiums you've been to so far?
Yeah, honestly, in left field, you'd think I'd get heckled more on the road, but most of the fans have been really kind of cool and chatty with me, and especially the ones here, they're always friendly and throwing balls every other inning. So got a good little bond going on.
And you talked about the pitching improving lately. I was here last night watching Michael Arias just absolutely throw the heck out of the ball. How fun is that for you as an outfielder to watch? And what other pitchers have you been watching and just been kind of really amazed at what they've been doing?
Yeah, Arias has been great for us. Brody, McCullough, Kip, all those guys, just throwing the ball over the zone, getting quick innings. It's fun as outfielder, you don't have to sit out there for a while.
Yeah, and you get to sit there and it's also, I've also watched when the team plays, it seems like a lot of different guys step up in a lot of times. You seem to be a guy that likes to hit with runners in scoring position. Do you feel like that helps you just kind of lock in?
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I've always kind of liked hitting with runners on second and third or even bases loaded because I feel like they have to throw the ball over the plate. There's no really place to put me unless it's second and third. But, yeah, I feel like it's a good adrenaline rush, but also a mixture of, staying controlled.
Now, baseball, like you said, you get a couple hours a day. You guys are out here. You're hitting. You're having fun here. What do you like to do when you're not playing baseball?
Yeah, I like going to the beach for sure. Working out, kind of chilling, going on walks. I like California. I'd go on hikes and stuff too in the off season, so that was always fun.
All right, big hiker. What about music?
Music, EDM.
EDM?
Love the EDM, yeah.
Okay, I was doing some research and I just saw Van Halen pop up and I saw Kings of Leon.
That might have been a phase when I said that, but we'll see. I still like them, though. I'll listen to them. Not my music of choice, though.
EDM. All right, man. Well, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you. I appreciate you kind of jumping in here and taking some time after batting practice. Yeah, and we're going to be watching your career. And as you progress through the minor leagues and hopefully one day at Wrigley Field, I'll be able to cheer you on.
Yes, sir. Hey, great meeting you.
Good to meet you, man. Take care.
You too.
Nice job with that one, Crawly. This is the Fly the W670 podcast. It's season 2. It's episode 44. Cubs sink the Jolly Roger. Crawly, you're down in Myrtle Beach with the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, and let's talk a little bit about some news and notes from around the league, and then let's preview the next big series at home as the Orioles come to town.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. Willson Contreras. We've been talking. We'll talk about the standings in a second, but needless to say, his worst season as a pro. And this was a quote from Willson. I wanted your take on this, Dustin. He said, "This is my first time since I've been in the big leagues that I've struggled this bad. I think I've lost my confidence and I lost my trust and lost the trust that I came into the season with. It just went away."
Well, talk about somebody that needs a little bit of a checkup from the neck up, as a famous talk show host used to say. I feel bad. I don't want to see Willson struggle. Maybe he needs a timeout. Maybe he needs a mental health day. I think I also saw a picture floating around today on social media where he took out his frustrations on a cooler in the dugout of the last place, St. Louis Cardinals. But since he decided to go on that side of the rivalry, I'm not going to have a whole lot of pity as long as he's not suffering mentally.
Yeah, and we brought this up, and I've said it over and over again. Careful what you wish for. And I will say that the Cardinals fans have been pretty patient with Willson, much more I think than they were with Dexter Fowler. But it just was a bad situation to walk into. Again, I don't want to feel bad because he can wipe his tears with $100 bills, but that's. I think that players have to realize that what you're walking into. I mean, I know money's a big factor and generational wealth and all that stuff, but is the situation right for you? And I never thought it was for Willson.
I'm curious your thoughts, Crawly. Yesterday before the game, Jed Hoyer met with the media, seemed a little put off, if you will, that Marcus Stroman went to social media with what's going on with the contract. Any surprise by the comments from Jed Hoyer? And then do you think it will have any impact in Marcus Stroman's start tonight?
I don't think so at all. Jed's response, he said, they asked him, the beat reporters, which is what they got to do, right? It's out there. They got to ask him. I don't think he was annoyed at Marcus. I think he's like, look, I'm not going to answer anything, right? So he said, I mean, honestly, I've talked about it a million times. We just don't talk about those things. Obviously, he made that public. And listen, I love the fact that he wants to be here. And we've had conversations about it. I'm not going to disclose what we've talked about, but there's dialogue, and we'll keep that in-house. Now, the reason that Marcus signed with the Cubs, he was looking to get what he thought was fair market, which was 5-year, $100 million, and he didn't get that. And so that's kind of why he took the deal with the Cubs with the opt-out. He bet on himself. And so is the question you have to ask yourself is, I mean, Marcus is not a guy that's throwing it in 97, 98 miles per hour. He's a guy that relies on his location and making sure the ball gets hit on the ground. And, maybe he's a guy that can do that for 5 more years despite his age.
Yep, we'll have to wait and see.
On that same day, Tuesday, there was a lot of roster moves and additions and subtractions to the injury report. On Tuesday, the Cubs made a flurry of moves. Cody Bellinger made his first start for the Cubs, going over 3 and playing first base. So just keep in mind that, again, like last year, and this is a problem we thought we solved in the offseason, first base has been a black hole for the Cubs with their first baseman going a combined .239 with a .699 OPS, which is 21st in the majors. There's only 9 teams with the worst first base situation than the Cubs. Tauchman, like we talked about in the first segment, has looked really good. Questions abound now is, with Cody, and Cody is back in Chicago right now. Whether he plays or not tonight, we don't know. But with Cody, there is a possibility he has played first. And if his knee isn't even 100%, let's say it's 85%, he could easily play first and have Tauchman stay in center. And that would mean Matt Mervis would probably move back to Iowa.
Well, now hold on a minute. Now, David Haas said the same thing. I respect your baseball opinions. I respect his baseball opinions. But let me just play a bit of devil's advocate. Why can't you have all of that and have Matt Mervis DHing?
You have to make room for somebody, right? So somebody's going to have to go down, and the question is going to be who. There is a question.
Well, is Master Boney still on this roster today?
No.
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 Okay.
So I don't believe. I don't believe so.
So he got sent down because of who was it? The third baseman now. Right. You're right.
Magical.
Yep. Magical. He went down. I mean, I don't know. Can you get by with one less arm?
The question, no.
No.
The question you have to ask yourself is do they feel that they're going to give it to Magical the shot and move Patrick Wisdom down? That's an option as well. I don't know.
We had a guy today who said DFA Wisdom the way he's been going. I can't imagine they would do that, but that's just where people's heads are at on this whole thing right now.
Right. But the thing is obviously we know that Mervis has been struggling. So maybe send him down, let him clear his head, let him hit some AAA pitching. I've heard other people argue he's going to get no benefit out of that. We know he can hit AAA pitching. He has to work his way out of it. But if he's going to work his way out of it, that means he has to be in the lineup every day. And I don't think that Ross wants him in the lineup every day, to be honest with you. I think he wants to win now and doesn't have the patience to see if Mervis can dig himself out. If you remember when Anthony Rizzo first started for the Padres, that was a disaster. And he got sent down. He was called up. There was a lot of excitement, very similar to Matt Mervis, and it did not go well for him his first time up. Went down, worked on some things, and, he was eventually traded to the Cubs. We all know how that story ends. But, I just timing-wise, I don't know if they're going to be willing to see next year. Absolutely 100%. I think they'd be more willing to, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I could see that being a move. You're looking at either Mervis or Wisdom. That would be your two options.
Okay. What about your guy Jeremiah Estrada? We got some pitching news to get into now.
Yeah, Jeremiah Estrada, he struggled with his limited opportunities. He was moved to AAA. The Cubs called up veteran lefty Anthony Kay. Now, the Cubs claimed Kay off the waivers from the Blue Jays over the winter. The Cubs also moved Brandon Hughes to the IL. He has had a knee injury all year. His performance has been bad, 70.24 ERA. And so he went down. Masterboni was called up again because of that injury. So Masterboni is up. He could go down again. And then
that's what I would do. Okay.
Right.
If you're going to tell me that Masterboni's going to be hanging around, then I'll take Matt Mervis, 5 times on Sunday and every other day the rest of the week. And Mastacholi can go down to AAA.
Right. And so that was all the latest moves now. And then Brad Boxberger faced hitters in a live BP session on Monday. So just waiting to see if that guy can come back like normal,
All right, Crawly, we'll keep our eyes on all the transactions. The next thing up for the Cubs are the Orioles, who are playing really nice baseball.
Yeah, last season the Orioles had a breakout year going 83-79, which was good for fourth in the very tough AL East. That was our 31-game turnaround, Dustin, from the previous season. Now, Orioles fans were excited to take the next step in putting a contending team on the field, but it was a disappointing offseason. Baltimore's opening day payroll of $63 million is exactly the same it was where the club ended in 2022. So they were hoping that they would somehow be involved in a big free agent splash. Didn't happen, but guess what, Dustin? It doesn't seem to matter because they're 42-25 in the AL East. I mean, when you think
could you imagine if the Cubs were 42-25 right now?
Oh, we would be ecstatic. And so they are ahead of teams like the Yankees, the Blue Jays, Boston. So they only trail the Tampa Bay Rays. So they are, who've been having a phenomenal season. I'm taking a look here. If the Orioles were in the AL West, they'd be tied for first with Texas. If they were in the AL Central, they would be in first place by a long shot. If they were in the NL West, they'd be in first place. And if they were in the NL East, they would be tied with Atlanta. And obviously we know what they would be in the NL Central, first place by a long shot. Yep. So, I mean, they're just in a really tough division, but they are playing really, really good baseball.
Excellent baseball. And they have a little Cubs connection, right?
Yeah. You have the head coach is a great guy who was on the 2016 teams. And excuse me, he was a guy that I felt like it was really tough going over there. Brandon Hyde, a lot of the players loved him. And so, glad to see he's doing as well as he is with this team. We said there weren't many additions. Right-handed pitcher Kyle Gibson, left-handed pitcher Cole Irvin, second baseman Adam Frazier, right-handed pitcher Michael Givens, and catcher James McCann. The Orioles lost Jordan Lyles, right-handed pitcher, Jesus Aguilar, first baseman, Brett Phillips is an outfielder. And even though this wasn't the offseason, this was a trade that happened in season, Trey Mancini was on this team. So
yeah, long-time guy in Baltimore, right? Long-time guy over there in Baltimore.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. So, we talked about where the Orioles are in the standings. Now we want to kind of take a look and see where the Cubs are. We still have one more game to go tonight against Pittsburgh. But as of right now, the Cubs, all the craziness, all the everything, are only 4.5 games back from first place.
Pittsburgh amazing. Now, absolutely amazing.
Pittsburgh on a 2-game losing streak thanks to the Cubs at 34 and 32. Milwaukee at 500. They are on a 6-game losing streak. Cincy has gotten red hot. They've won 5 in a row, and they're 1 game below 500. And then the Cubs are 7 games below 500, but 4.5 games back in the division and 5.5 in the wild card 2-game winning streak. And then St. Louis, 27 and 42 on a 5-game losing streak, 2 and 8 in their last 10. Oh, my Lord.
Oh, my Lord. Why I'm not happy I'm not a Cardinals fan right now. All right, Crawly. So here come the Orioles. Let's get into a little bit of the pitching matchups.
Yep, and we remember last time what Kyle Hendricks did on the mound. He went 7 2/3 of no hit ball against the Giants. He finished the 8 innings, gave up 1 hit, 3 strikeouts. Before that, he had a shaky game against San Diego. Bad umpire, I thought, and it was a really weird game. He went 6 innings pitched, gave up 6 hits and 4 earned runs. And then against a very good Tampa Bay team, he went 5 innings pitched, gave up 6 hits, but only 1 earned run. So excited to see how the professor follows that up. They are going to be facing lefty Cole Irvin in his last start against Kansas City, which I don't think is fair because that team is awful. 5.1 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run. He has been, when we talk about Cole, he has been a guy that's kind of been up and down. So he was optioned. He went to the minor leagues April 14th, and then he was later on recalled. He's been kind of up and down, one of those guys. So his last game, he did not start. He only went, that was against Toronto. He only went 0.1 innings. And then before that, he faced Oakland. So not a lot to kind of really glean from the information. He's really not, he's only started 4 games total. So in the season, and he hasn't thrown, the most he's thrown so far was that last start against KFC, 5.1 innings pitched. Before that, most of them have been just 4-inning stints. So this is a guy that the Cubs should be able to get to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am definitely feeling good about game 1 against the Orioles.
Yeah. Now, game 2, Dustin, we have no idea. That is undecided. The infamous TBD will be right now under consideration, but I don't know. Who do you think is going to be starting that one?
Well, so the speculation is right. Is Justin Steele is eligible, I believe, right? We haven't heard much on where he's at right this second. Would we have Assad potentially start that game? He's still up with the big league club, right?
Right. Yeah.
So that he, or would it be, some type of an opener, right? I don't know that there's anybody. I don't think you'd go with, who's some of the minor league guys?
Caleb Killian would be. Caleb Killian would be one.
I don't know about Caleb Killian. If you're not going to go, to me, I think it makes all the sense in the world for Assad to throw. And that could also answer the question why we saw Mark Leiter when we did see Mark Leiter the other night.
Yeah, so the question that you kind of take a look at is that I know that Steele was supposed to throw on Tuesday, but if you remember, that was a really miserable, rainy day, and he didn't get his bullpen in. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect. And like you said, Assad's a possibility. What about the idea some people have kind of kicked around about maybe giving Ben Brown a spot start? He's been on the podcast. He was phenomenal with Tennessee. He then moved up into Iowa where he continued playing very well. So you don't know that
I'm not against that idea. I guess my point is just if you have Assad up here if he's not ready to start, then what's he doing up here, right? Like what's the point? I'd like to. I'm just saying I would like to see Assad. That's my answer to this puzzle. And if it's not working out, then maybe you go to Julian Mayweather early, right? See if he can get you a couple innings, and then you could piece it together that way.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough, and this is where that injury plays a tough role, because you got to make a call, and if he's not ready, you're not going to risk the health of Justin Steele. So somebody's going to have to step up, and whoever it is, I don't know. We do know that the Orioles should be going with Kyle Gibson. Kyle Gibson's had a great year so far. He's an 8-3 record with a 3.90 ERA. Last game against KC, 6.1, 7 hits, 3 earned runs. Against Milwaukee, he went 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. And against Cleveland, he went 5.2 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs. The guy gives up a lot of hits, but it just doesn't seem like opponents are scoring. He's able to kind of buckle down when it needs to be.
Yeah, so, he looks really good on paper. I'm not going to tell you that I saw him pitch, but his stats look pretty convincing.
Yeah, and so that's the tough thing when you have this, facing all 30 teams is, you don't know a lot of these guys. The Cubs did well against someone they never saw before last night. You just got to sit there, try to figure out. There's so much tape on these guys. Let them see what happens. So hopefully they'll do okay.
Now, game number 3 is going to be an early game for the Cubs right away. First game, I think it's one of those. What is that? Who's got that now? Is that an Apple TV game? Who does those early games? Peacock? Do you remember which streaming outlet does those early games on Sunday?
There's a lot of, unfortunately, there's so many different ways that these games are. You're talking about the 1:05 start on Sunday.
Oh, I thought it was a 12:05 Central start on. I thought it was
could be. You're. I think it is 12:05 because I'm on Eastern time right now.
So it's an hour. It's an hour earlier because of that. Right. I was hoping and speculating that they might push Jameson Taillon back one more day to pitch against the Pirates again, being in his old home ballpark. But right now, Jameson Taillon is starting. So I'm assuming that that's what they're going to do. But let's see if they make the old switcheroo. And don't forget, if you can't find it on TV, you can always listen to Pat and Ron on 670 The Score, along with our guy, Zach Zaidman.
Absolutely. And so, we saw what he did against Pittsburgh. He went 6 innings pitched, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs. Against the Angels, that was 5.1 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, and 4 walks, just too much. But he got his first win against San Diego on the 2nd. That was 5.2, 3 hits, 1 earned run. So he has 2 wins in his last 3 starts after being hitless, his previous starts. So that was, through the month of April and March, April and May, he was winless. He's got 2 in the first out of the 3 starts in June. So let's hope June Taillon keeps going.
June Taillon, I like it. He's going to face a guy who's got, again, pretty good numbers. Dean Kremer, 7-3, 4.74 ERA overall.
Yep, and with Dean, the last start, it was against Toronto. He went 6 innings pitched, gave 8 hits, 2 earned runs. Struggled against Milwaukee, got the loss. He went 5 innings, 9 hits, 6 earned runs. And against San Francisco, he got the win, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. So another guy who's had 2 wins in his last 3 starts, but again, 7 wins total. So this is a good Baltimore team, and, it's going to be a good challenge. And hopefully the Cubs kind of keep building on their confidence right now and are able to kind of, take that into the series.
Yeah, let's talk a little hot and not, Crawly, as the Orioles are set to come into Wrigley Field on Friday.
You said Seiya Suzuki better be hot. He is still hot. He is 6 for his last 11 with 2 RBIs and 3 walks, no strikeouts. That is a slash line of 545, 643, 727. I will take that. And you talked about the Palatine Pounder, Mike Tauchman, 7 for his last 21, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs. He's got a couple walks for a 331, 391, 429 slash line. As far as the knots, we're looking at Trey Mancini. He doesn't have a lot of at-bats, 8 at-bats, but he doesn't have he doesn't have any hits, he has 1 hit in his last 8 at-bats. And so his slash line's not looking great, 125, 125, 125. And then we talked about Matt Mervis. He has had a lot of at-bats, 16 at-bats, but only 2 hits and 1 home run, 2 RBIs, 5 strikeouts to 1 K. So that's a 125, 222, 313. You just get nervous how much he might be looking over his shoulder with Cody Bellinger kind of lurking in the weeds, getting ready to come back.
Yeah, that's a good point. We'll have to wait and see on that one. So we know who's hot for the Cubs. We know who's not hot for the Cubs. Ian Happ, I could argue with you a little bit there, Crawly. I think he's getting on base, he's doing good enough. He's dealing with a little bit of an injury. How about the Orioles? Who do we got to watch out for?
With the Orioles, you got to have to take a look at Gunnar Henderson. In his last 22 at-bats, he has 11 hits, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. So watch out for Gunnar Henderson. The guy is slashing 500, slugging 955. So a lot of red lights blinking on that one.
Pretty good.
Yeah, right. Ryan O'Hearn in his last 14 at-bats, 7 hits, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs. So that's another guy batting 500. On base 563, slugging 1,000. Now, as far as the knots are concerned, you can take a look at second baseman Adam Frazier. He's 4 for his last 16, but he does have 2 home runs and 5 RBIs, so he's batting 250, 333, 625. But their catching situation is an absolute mess. Their everyday starting catcher, Adley Rutschman, has 3 hits in his last 17 at-bats, no home runs, no RBIs. So he's slashing 176, 222, and 294.
All right, Crawly, let's go with some predictions. This is a very good team, but the Cubs are also playing very good. A little nervous that we don't know who's starting on Saturday, so you got to put that into effect when we make your predictions. I'll go first this time. I think you went first last time. I'm going to say the Cubs definitely get 1, but don't be shocked if 2 out of 3. I think the sweep is out of the question.
I mean, I don't like the matchups. I mean, I like the game 1 matchup. The game 3 one, not so much, and the game 2 is undecided.
We don't know.
I'm going to go with the Cubs taking 1 of 3. That would be my prediction.
All right, so we are on the same page there. That's a wrap. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. Follow us on the socials, Fly the W on Facebook and 670 The Score, Facebook, Instagram. Email us, flythew670gmail.com, and you can watch us on YouTube by subscribing to the 670 The Score YouTube channel. Crawly, enjoy the rest of your time down in Myrtle Beach, and I know you'll be very active on social media for our listeners and watchers to follow you.
It's absolutely been a blast down here, and it looks like it's been a blast up in Chicago. Hey, let's go Birds and let's go Cubs! Hey guys, it's Crawly. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date with our latest episodes. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Go Cubs!